Pingle from Microsoft. These guys are going to talk about the partnership between Zycus and Microsoft in developing agentic AI solutions. So this one will be a good one. It'll be just the two of the guys. So I'll call you up. You're here. You're going to get a check. Okay, you've got seats. Yeah. Okay. Welcome, guys.
Hello. Hello.
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to this fireside chat today. I'm really excited to be talking to Prith, who's our partner, Microsoft, and we are going to talk about a lot of things, mainly about how agentic AI vision is going to take enterprise forward, a broader vision around that, how realistic use cases of intake are making a dent in the market, and then user adoption, which I believe is one of the most important metric for any enterprise transformation. So that's something that we'll do. Prith, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. Carl, you got my name right. So it's Prithvi Pingle. It actually means earth. I decided to shorten it to Prith, the first 5 letters, because people were having trouble. So you guys can call me Prith, right? For me, before we get started, Salamat Pagi, Malaysia. I lived in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur for 2 years. So Malaysia Boleh. So it has been home. Now I live in Singapore. So obviously there's like a tension there. Super happy to be here. Wonderful resort. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. There's been a lot of excitement about AI. So before we deep dive into what we want to chat about today, do you want to talk a bit about the evolution from AI, GenAI, the agentic AI? What's your view on that?
Great question. I think it's a good starting point to set some context, right? The reason why it's important to set that context is everybody uses the word AI very loosely, and it can represent different things to different people. Roughly about 18 to 24 months ago, before OpenAI as a company came up, AI was traditionally existing always, right? So the traditional AI always was around prediction. Based on the trend, what would the next thing look like? So that was always what they did. But the uptake of AI as a company strategy improved tremendously in the last 24 months, where GenAI adoption came, because it gave the power of using simple natural language to the end users to be able to get to the point that they want to get to. Like, it basically made people feel that now I know more than what you would generally know, right? So that's good. But today, it has evolved even further. We call it agentic AI. I'm just trying to see. Right. So agentic AI, before I go into that, right? So now just imagine trying to bring the entire process automation, the language which existed in traditional AI and GenAI, and now adding an element of memory, so contextually it remembers what you've done, and the ability to reason. So by bringing these 4 contextual things into one place, the whole agentic AI sort of comes in. And on a very broad basis, agentic AI can be represented across 4 different type of agents, right? Personal agents, organizational, business process, and cross-org agents. Personal agents, for a better lack of word or super simplicity, many people here would have watched Iron Man, Avengers. It's the Jarvis, right? It understands your behaviors. It understands what's important for you, gets your day organized. Just imagine it as a super executive assistant that helps you to get organized. Organizational agents are, you have a certain department where multiple different agents are talking to each other and makes the organization overall better, right? And we can give you some examples of what that an organizational agent looks like in a bit. A business process agent, I'll talk about this with a better example a little bit later, is you look at an existing business process that's taking time to to kind of get it done, and you bring AI there to get that time-bound activity done much faster. And the real true unlocking of AI will get to the point in the cross-org agents is, now whatever you're doing in your organization, just imagine your agent is now able to talk to an agent which is outside your organization, right? We today are not there yet, but definitely for the first three, we are already doing a lot of work, and I'm super happy to kind of represent that work, right? I'll just take that a little bit further to try and explain to you through it's a very easy to understand example of an HR, right? When a new employee gets hired into an organization, HR's job is, before the new employee comes on board, ensure that their laptop is ready, they have a username and password, their salary account gets created, and so on and so forth, right? On a traditional time, an HR manager, 1 week before, so the first, right, before this whole AI came in, the HR manager would have like standard operating documents everywhere and so on. When the employee comes on board, they would say, okay, send an email to IT, send an email to procurement to get them a laptop, send an email to the security that the gates need to be open, and so on and so forth, right? So that was very manual, got job done, no problem. Later on, when 24 months ago GenAI came, they made a little bit of a self-service saying that, hey, this is something that the end user can do it themselves. So they gave them a chatbot. And they started typing, how do I onboard myself? And they would get a very straightforward instruction. But for me to do onboard, I still have to send an email to IT, send an email to procurement. Now, the evolution of today is where the HR agent is working with the HR manager. It knows somebody is getting onboarded. It fires off an email to them on behalf of you to the IT department. And if IT department has an agent, they know how to create that whole account automation. The procurement team has an agent that knows how to go ahead and purchase a new laptop for them. The security team has an agent that knows how to get them. So that's where we are today already. So on a very simple example, that's how the transformation has happened. And this is the example.
Thank you so much for that simplified journey. I think all of us benefited from that. And I'll share on this example that we have built an agent that helps us hire across a pool of candidates, which can very well be plugged before this agent.
Yeah.
So great, thanks for that. And Prith, next question. Microsoft has been advocating the Agentic AI vision. I remember Mr. Nadella saying that that's the next frontier where the productivity is going to come from. So how do you see that unfolding specifically for large and medium enterprises?
So this is almost 3 months ago. I think Satya did this in a podcast where he mentioned about the whole agentic AI vision. And I'm super passionate, at the same level as what Satya is, right? Definitely a visionary. As a leader, I have roughly about 180 team members that are sitting across Asia with about 15 managers, right? And on a daily basis, my job is looking at, so this is sales teams, right? I need to unblock issues for them on a daily basis. And unblocking issues can come from anything to related to a payment that we need to make to a partner, to a service that's not available on our platform that we need to sell, to anything, right? So unblocking is one big activity that I do. And I run like 5 different projects, which is ensuring that these projects are running actively to get new revenue streams. But each of these projects have different project owners. So half my time goes in chasing what the status of each of these projects are. So as leader, my vision is, just imagine now an agent looks at my calendar on a morning and looks at all these activities which are important, strategic, but can be automated, and helps me automate that. And by doing that, now I can really focus on talking to my team, coaching them, how do I identify the next revenue stream, which is 3 months down, my pipeline is less, what do I need to do? So the agentic vision that Satya mentions is today available through what Zycus is done through the Source-to-Pay platform and Merlin Intake. We'll talk about that in a little second. And also what Microsoft is doing with co-pilots as agents. I think we are already there. and life is becoming a lot better. And I am able to do my work within 8 hours, which usually would have taken me about 12 hours to get done, right? So that's a very important thing.
Absolutely. And Zycus has embraced this vision by partnering with Microsoft to build AI agents across the source-to-pay setup. What excites Microsoft about this partnership, about taking this forward with Zycus?
See, firstly, I think what I loved about the Zycus' partnership with us is everybody is talking about AI, GenAI, Agentic AI. You guys made it. You've already launched it. Within the 3 months where this was a vision, today the reality is it's already available in your platform, right? So that's a very, very super strong message. And on top of that, I think we are ready to bring it to our customers. I'm probably sure that everybody saw the certain demos and how it's going to help you unlock that value, right? So I'm super excited about that. And what I like most about this partnership is Microsoft is not a procurement company. We don't understand how the procurement works. We build platforms that can help our customers and partners develop the solid. So they bring the deep expertise of procurement, Zycus does. We provide our Azure OpenAI platform for them to build that expertise. Through this, we are building real life, we are building real life solutions that can solve real life problems for procurement teams and businesses and business users like me who are talking to these procurement teams on a daily basis. And I'll give you some examples a little bit later on this. Yeah.
Thanks. I think we are as excited about this. As you mentioned, one of the key innovations has been Merlin Intake. Patrick yesterday spoke about how revolutionary this technology is and how business users and procurement users are benefiting from it. So what's your take on it? How do you see this evolving or helping out the users, from the entire S2P setup?
Patrick firstly was absolutely right. I think the master stroke basically comes is the agent that you have developed, you don't need to go into a different website to use that agent. It is available on one of the most widely adopted platform today, and that's called Microsoft Teams. Today, the number of users that we have on Microsoft Teams worldwide are 320 million users, first. Number of users that are daily actively using that is 280 million, right? Can anybody take a wild guess the amount of time on an average somebody spends on Teams? The answer is 4 hours per day. So on an 8-hour work day, 50% of the time people are spending on Teams collaborating with your team members to get work done. And what you guys have done is you brought your agent, Merlin Intake, right into Teams. So that solves the biggest challenge of adoption. So you will not see resistance. If you had done this outside of Teams, I would say yes, you need to worry about adoption as a problem. But I think half battle is won. But still, I think change management is still important, which we have to work through together as a company, and you have to work with your customers essentially.
Absolutely, and data shows that adoption across any transformation is that key metric of success. So we are glad. And you rightly said, Microsoft Teams has become the platform where work happens. Everyone is logging in there. So if the user doesn't need to learn anything new, adoption skyrockets. What's your take on this philosophy?
See, we are a SaaS provider, right? We've existed as SaaS provider. How many of you use Office 365 here? I'm pretty sure either you're using an Office 365 or the second not so best alternative called Google Cloud, which is fine. But I would say majority of you are using Office 365, right? And Office 365 as a SaaS product, when it got launched roughly about 2012, 2010, 2011, I think, right? The biggest question that we had was, email was available as is, SharePoint was available as is, Word documents look the same. Why do I need to take a SaaS platform if nothing is different than what I was already doing, right? So over time, it took us time to get to that change management, to give them that belief that by going to a SaaS-based platform, the innovations are ongoing and the value is ongoing, right? So we have taken that change management journey over a really long time. And I think that is how it's gotten to a point where now in that journey, Office 365 got evolved to Teams, and you are basically starting off with that groundwork that is a little bit done already there. And I think that's like the real value which we would see, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does absolutely. So let's talk about your region, Southeast Asia. We have seen a lot of organizations having leaner procurement teams across sectors. So how do you see our combined solution, helping the organizations address these challenges? Less people, getting more done. How do we
Yeah.
enable that?
You know what's interesting that you brought up, right? I think the new mantra or the mantra that has always existed around the world is do more with less. And everybody interprets that mantra differently themselves. And for ASEAN / Southeast Asia as context, given that it has been home and I've been working with different culture, the challenge becomes even more drastically different because you have to understand different cultural nuances. While you might think that English as a language is uniting all of us, yes it is, but cultural nuances for every of these countries in Southeast Asia. But to be able to address those cultural nuances, you can't be hiring multiple teams to solve these problems. And we come up with lean teams. So lean teams is a much more bigger problem in Southeast Asia compared to any other area. I'm sure it is the other areas as well. But now the biggest problem is you have very lean procurement teams, and on a daily basis, you're expecting these procurement teams to help people with PO creation, identifying new vendor onboarding, and so on. I'm pretty sure when you have advertised their job description to get hired into the company, we would have all used great words like supplier onboarding, supplier strategy. Nobody would have signed up saying that I'm here to create a purchase order on a daily basis and 50% of my time goes into doing that, right? So it's important that these undifferentiated tasks that they are doing, which if you don't do, are going to cause a problem, needs to be gotten done, and that is what Merlin Intake solves through your agents, right? That helps your lean procurement teams focus on what's important, which is really what was in their JD of supplier onboarding. How do I save money? How do I negotiate better rates for my company, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
That's a great input. So if you have to advise a chief procurement officer to start or accelerate their agentic AI journey, what would that advice be?
I just wanted to give you guys a small contextual story, right? Like this is about 2 days ago, and I was just talking to Tejit about this example, and I thought, would it be worthwhile to bring it up here? One of our largest customers that me and my team kind of work with, the CDO has been a close friend of mine because we've been working with him for the last 12 years. They actually operate a large casino and resort in Southeast Asia. Right? I don't need to need the name, you guys know who they are, right? He brought me in one day, it's exactly 2 days ago, in fact, morning. He said, hey Prith, I need your time, can you come with me? So I followed him into their chef, to meet their chef. And I'm thinking, what am I there doing meeting a chef? I don't know anything about what a chef does. So the chef basically opened up saying, I'm hearing a lot of buzz around GenAI, AI, Agentic AI. How is this going to help me? So I only asked him one simple question even before. I asked him, tell me how your 8 hours of your day looks like. He started explaining, right? He said, I come and check out, see how much my inventory is, how much my stock is, what's the recipe that's available in hand that I need to make, and so on and so forth. And then I said, okay, fine, your day fully went, and I get the whole entire context. The next question I asked him was, what were you hired to do? He said, I was hired to create recipes that would attract more. And how often do I do that? He said, at best, I work on new recipes 2 hours a week, right? So what, from there I asked him is, now looking at your entire day, there are a lot of these activities which could be automated, right? So we identified the automation aspect. Look at the last 6 months worth of receipts. Look at the receipts of the customers that are coming to those restaurants. See what was the top order dish. Link it to the type of weather. If it's a cold dish, it's a warm weather, warm dish with a cold weather, things like that. Look at the stock details. And automate in such a way that the stock gets ordered. So 2 hours of his job is going to be, we are working through to build that. So what I'm trying to get to a point here, guys, is as chief procurement officers, you need to understand where your procurement teams and business teams are spending most of their time at, and how do I make sure that I help them optimize that time. The idea is to start small, start smart, but to start, right? A lot of people are still thinking about it, and the value that you guys are bringing is you've already thought through these problems and created those agents which are going to help them. So that's my 2 cents around what would the right place to start.
That's a great input. And when we design products at Zycus, I think this is the philosophy of day in the life. We have done that with most of our customers to understand what the users do and how we can augment that. So that's great advice. I think